Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Big Benedict. We're back to playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1. Thanks for rejoining me. This is my Master Ninja difficulty guide, and we are on Chapter 11, the military supply base. So there is no boss for this stage, although there are two mid-level bosses and a radio tower sequence, which is kind of like a boss. But not too bad of a level. I enjoy the beginning and the ends of this level. I don't enjoy the tanker and the helicopter sequence. You probably should have quite a bit of impo to minimize your stress. It's very it's tedious and it's not designed well. Neither of those fights are designed well, so more of that when we actually get to it. But equip the strongbow. You should already have it, and if you don't have any arrows, just backtrack to the alternator arena rather. And you're going to notice right off the bat when you use the strongbow that the arrows fire a lot quicker. It takes 3 arrows to dispatch each of these sentries up here, so it's really nice that these sentries don't interrupt you when you're firing. When they're firing and when you're aiming. So it works out really well. So grab that Golden Scarab, and then we're going to head on over to that green box over here and start using explosive arrows. So we have the ability to start using cores and explosive arrows now that we have the strongbow. So I know there's a long abbreviation before the word cores. I can never remember all the letters, so I'm just going to say cores. They're like steel rod cores or something, and they're actually really effective on the 2 bosses. I think they deal more damage, but again, more of that when we actually get to it. So this is payback time. Definitely payback time for these guys. So don't be afraid to use the explosive arrows. There's an unlimited supply of them in that box if you run out. And if you want to if you are able to, like I am a couple times, just chain attacks and anticipate these guys' departure out of that tank. That big tank. So grab the warehouse key, and then we're going to use that to open the door, and also make sure you grab some more explosive arrows, because you do actually have to buy them unless there are boxes of them, but there are a lot of boxes of them on this stage. So there's a chest that I point out right over here, but I'm not going to get it because it just has bats in it. This empty thing up here, this little building, you need to wall run up it and then press the triangle button at the apex of your ascension up it, and then that will boost you up to the top. So this is a small potion, and then the next crate up ahead, that contains a Life of the Gods. So I really enjoy this stage. I like this area. It's very spacious, but there's not too many hidden items, so you really don't have to worry about a lot of any missing any items. The treasure chest up ahead, see that red box up there? That just has a smoke bomb in it, and I already have the maximum carrying capacity for that particular item, so I'm not going to grab it. Once you get to over here, right about here, you're going to get a cutscene, and then these flying drones are going to come out of the windows up there. I just prefer to avoid them until I get to the cores over there where that box is, just because I don't want to waste my explosive arrows, and there is an unlimited supply of the cores right here, so I just like to use the cores on these guys. Anything works on these guys, any projectile, even the windmill shuriken works really well, but of course it doesn't have the range that you need right here. So this is another instance where just like in Chapter 3, remember how I was bitching about how holding the triangle button and absorbing essence from afar where it's unreachable? I think you get $1 or $2 for every yellow essence. So you'll see me from time to time absorb the essence that's around. The yellow essence that you absorb, it gets you like, I think, a couple dollars, maybe even as little as like $1, but at least it's something. But it makes absolutely no sense that you don't get any of the health from the absorption. So the blue orbs that you absorb into your person, you don't get any health. It doesn't make any sense, and it irks me to no end that that's the case. If you're getting like $1 or $2 from the yellow orbs, it just makes sense that they should give you at least a couple of millimeters of health. Not that I need that or it's going to be helpful, but it just really bothers me. It's so fucking frustrating. So grab some more cores for yourself, absorb any essence that's left on the map, and I actually did this take without having to edit anything in post-production. In other words, I didn't fall while platforming, so that's always really a positive thing. Expedites the editing process, to be sure. So hop on down here, and the platform actually works really well here. No big issues, except if you're trying to jump on it and you jump into one of the wires, the 4 wires, those cables, you'll actually kind of get pushed off, and you won't make the jump. So I depressed the R3 button and got into first-person mode just for a little bit of fun. And you need to do a diagonal jump over here onto this platform, and then do a full jump, a full dash jump onto that platform, and then hop onto this platform, and then there's just one more jump for you to do. And then once you make that jump, you're going to get a $15,000 item, so definitely pick it up. Looks like I already had 2 in my inventory, so decided to use the one I had and then get the one in the box. So the red chest up ahead, that is a smaller potion, so also grab that. And then we're just heading over to the office where the drones kind of came out in that kind of vicinity. So after this, we're going to get to the locomotive turntable, but first of all, we have to get out of this warehouse, and we need the shutter key. So it's in this office building over here, so just head on in this building, this office, and there's a map for you to grab if that's something you want. I just decided to grab it. And then once you exit this office, you want to do a wall run up to the top, and there's a Golden Scarab, which is really, I think, a well-placed and really nicely hidden item. That's my favorite Golden Scarab. I point it out every time. This is the second time I've done this guide, so it's the second time I'm pointing that out. So just use the shutter control card key, and then if you don't feel comfortable fighting this battle without saving, without saving, head on over to the save point. The one really significant difference between this game and Sigma 2 is that when there are enemies in the vicinity in Sigma 2 and you're near a save statue, the save statue dims and it's inaccessible until you slay all the enemies in the nearby vicinity. But that's not so for this game. You can save it whenever you want, even if there's 10 enemies right next to the save statue. So I don't know why that's the case. I guess it's because of the fact that Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 is so linear, and this game is so open-ended, and you could backtrack to almost all the areas where you've been before. So there's a lot. I think there's a lot of like buffering, a lot more resources put into this game as far as backtracking and less limitations in this game. That's just my guess. I don't know if in Sigma 2 they just do it to make your life more difficult, which I wouldn't be surprised because they often do that in that game and in this game. So definitely, if you die here, you are going to have to go way back to the save point. So it's actually the practical thing to save it. But I have a lot of items to fall back on. But if there's one thing I can stress, get a lot of Ninpo for the have a lot of Ninpo in your inventory for the 2 tankers, because they're very poorly designed, and I'll get into it when we're fighting them. But the Art of the Inferno is a really good Ninpo to use on that particular mid-level boss, and I currently have it up to level 3, which I would advise you to get it up to level 3. I really don't ever upgrade. I mean, I upgrade everything, but I never really use the other one that we have right now, the Ice Storm. I just don't find very much use for it. It's that vertical column of magic and the ice. Like the best Ninpos for me is just the Art of the Inferno and then the Art of the Inazuma. So just do whatever you want, but I'm just telling you that it's really handy to have the Art of the Inferno up to level 3 for those tankers, because you could damage them significantly. So I really deserve to have gotten gutted right there. That was definitely my bad, and I'm not sure what possessed me to try to fly swallow that guy, knowing the repercussions of getting gutted. But sometimes you just do stupid stuff. And sometimes you just got to pay the price for being stupid. So there's actually quite a few enemies over here, and I'm just resorting to guillotine throwing these guys here, and then either stabbing them if they're indisposed, or just doing the Izuna drop. And then once these guys are all cleared, you're going to get this door opened. So definitely want to save it. And I should point out that at this time in the game, you should have enough Golden Scarabs so that at this particular stage in your campaign, you should be able to trade your Golden Scarabs for the reward, which in this case is really shitty. It's just a smoke bomb. But just bear that in mind that at this point, I'm not sure the total number you should have. It might be like 20 or 25. But at this point, you should have enough to trade it in for a reward. Not that you're going to need the smoke bombs for this guy, for this stage. So the biggest issue here is that it's really difficult to grab ammo out of the boxes without getting torn to pieces. And it's really unfortunate that they give you an ammo counter. You know, it's just stupid. Why give the player an ammo counter? It's just, but look at all the damage that the Art of the Inferno does. It's just a great amount of damage. And don't really worry about using too much Nimpo here, because once you defeat this guy, you're going to be accessing one of the monoliths in this game, which is going to just restock your Nimpo and your health. So we took that one out, and unfortunately, there's another one to contend with. But in the mission mode challenges, there are actually 3 tankers in one of the streets of Tyron. So I guess count your blessings if you know. Anyway, so it does a really good amount of damage. So I'm just using the Art of the Inferno in concert with the exploding arrows and the cores. It's my opinion that the cores do more damage to these tankers and also to the helicopter in the next sequence. So, you know, if you're ever debating about which one deals more damage, I'm not really, you know, I never really measured the damage that I was doing, but it just seems like seeing it with my naked eye, just seeing the damage, it looks like, and also how fast the enemies are dying, that the cores do have a little more efficacy than do the exploding arrows. So this lift is going to descend, and now's your chance to see I'm on the verge of death. So I'm just going to restock on my arrows, and then access the Team Ninja monolith, which is the second of the 3 monoliths that exist in this game. So just also be aware that you could come down here after the helicopter fight, and you're probably going to need to come down here because it's a really brutal fight, and you're going to get, if you're like me, you're going to get torn to pieces. So just remember that you can always come back down to this monolith as much as you really need to. You can come down to it very frequently. So if you know, you get into a jam or what have you. So now we're just heading on over to the lift that descended after we beat that boss. And there's some bats in here, which I knew full well that those bats were in there, but I just opened it anyway. They're actually the exploding bats, so not sure why I did that. But when this lift ascends to the top, you definitely want to save it. And I had a lot of healing items to fall back onto, but it wasn't the case the last time I did this guide. I think I had just 1 small potion and 1 great potion, which is not much at all. So once this helicopter once the fight starts, you're going to get an opportunity to hit him several times. So it's going to put you right in line to him. So just maybe not right in line, but just kind of aim, just kind of compensate for the fact that it's going up at first. So just shoot up, and then the best time to hit this boss is when it goes under the bridge. And you can also hide behind these wooden platforms, those boxes, to prevent yourself from getting hit from the missiles. But it's not easy to dodge these missiles, and right there it was pure luck that I didn't get hit. You know, it's not skill, but right now I'm going to head on over to this crate to see if I can hide behind it. You really have to time your dodges really with a lot of precision. I dodged the first wave of missiles, but then the second wave of missiles hit me. It might have been because I was trying to aim, and the patterns are usually the same for this boss, but sometimes he does kind of go in different patterns. Maybe like if you're doing it a bunch of times, you might see a different pattern emerge. But normally it's like the same thing. And every time there's a cutscene here, and this is the best opportunity to hit this guy, You can always hit him right away, and you deal more damage to this guy when you're aiming with the bow and arrow. But also be aware that when this guy is close to the bridge, you can blind fire and hit him, so you can get off a bunch of hits there, so it's really good. So the first time he goes under the bridge, there's a little scene, and it kind of like puts the game in like kind of pause mode for a moment. But when he goes under the bridge, any other time after that, it's not going to have that little scene. So don't worry about that. Primarily, you want to dodge until he's stationary and until he's going under the bridge. So I really hope no one comes here without that many potions, but so here's another great opportunity to start hitting this guy. See, I'm aiming, I'm preparing to fire down on this guy. I'm aiming, so I'm dealing more damage, and then when I get out of the aiming mode, I'm just going to start blind firing at him as much as I can. And I think I take him down right here. Yep, took him down. Yep, there we go. So I had almost all my health here, but that's just because I used a potion towards the end of that fight. But I actually did go back and access the monolith just because I was one nimpo short of having all my nimpos. So don't be afraid to go back and access that monolith by any means, and also restock on your cores and explosive arrows, because we're going to be using them the next stage. So, well, not the next stage, but the next stage of this battle. So you may have noticed that I equipped the Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang. That's just because I'm going to be getting that box with the ghost fish once I come back down. So do your wall kicks and grab this Golden Scarab. And then we're going to be doing the radio tower sequence up on the rooftop here. And this can be either very hard or marginally easy. It's never like that easy. But to minimize the difficulty, you want to kill all but one of these soldiers here. And then once there's just one left, then start taking out the 9 radio dishes. I think there's 9. It's hard to get interrupted, like when you're in the aiming mode, and then these guys are just shooting at you. I think if they're really close to you and they're firing at you, you can get interrupted. But I'll be showing you the main thing that you're going to get interrupted on is getting gutted by these guys, like right there. It's just that when you kill all these enemies and you try to do this normally, there's going to be about for every one of those radio dishes, there's like one enemy, or maybe it's like half of an. I mean, like for every 2, there's one enemy. But you constantly get interrupted, and it's so irritating that I can't stand it. I cannot stand it, and just a lot of trial and error. I experimented with this, just leaving one guy on here and just taking these radio dishes off, and it works a lot better. And your stress level is much minimized here. So I think this is the last radio dish that I needed to take out. Maybe there's one more. But you see how when I'm aiming, I'm not getting interrupted. Not really anyway. And when you take out the radio tower, the game clears that last enemy for you, so you don't even have to worry about him. So really nice. So I'm going to restock on my exploding arrows. Head on down to where the shop is, and also to where the treasure box is with the ghost fish. And I'm actually really loving these ghost fish now that I have a good strategy for using the Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang. Before, when I first did this guide, I was using the Vigorian Flail, and it's just remarkable how well this strategy works with pressing the square button 4 times. And when you kill a school of fish, there's like a little lull. And even though the fish is like right next to you, it doesn't grab you. So it's really great. I'm really glad that I'm being able to demonstrate this strategy. So I guess back in the locomotive turntable, I did have 25 Golden Scarabs. Since I have 26 now, so you should have 26 by now. So restock on your supplies if you want to. And if you are very cautious of a gamer, go back and save it. And access the monolith if you want to. I decided not to, since I've just done this so much. When you play a game so many times, you just get really good at it. But Ioni or whomever is going to throw. I guess I don't know. Maybe Ioni's still sticking around, but she's still throwing scrolls even in chapter 11. So over here, these flying drones need to be taken care of by you. They're actually optional. But if you want, you can leave the essence hovering in the air and then go into the next room and absorb the essence for a possible UT attack. But it's really hard to get in red UTs on these enemies here, where their bullets interrupt your charge. So just take care of these guys in the normal manner. They should be extremely familiar to you by now. And this is the Life of the Gods. You want to grab this and then go into the door. And there's another little group of enemies down the stairs in this little room over here. So just head on down the lift. And in this next room, there is a treasure box in a little alcove with another Life of the Gods. And in this room, the door is going to be locked. So I'm not sure if you have to actually go into this room. I'm not sure if you can backtrack to get the card that you need to unlock this door. But once I clear these enemies, I'm not even going to interact with the door because I already know it's going to say that it's locked. I've done this so many times. But that is the case. The door is locked, so you have to backtrack up here and go into the previous room where the enemies were. And I'm not really sure how it works exactly because the key card just kind of appeared when I charged these enemies and started shooting exploding arrows at them. You'll see what happens. I thought you had to actually clear these three enemies for the key to materialize, but it's not the case because this guy wasn't even slain here with the Azuna drop and that card popped up. So I'm not really sure how it works, but it's not hard anyway to kill those enemies. And that's actually the last enemies you're going to be killing on this stage. Like I said in the very beginning of this battle, this video, there's no boss, but we had our little fill of bosses with that helicopter and those tankers. So the only thing left to do is interact with the control room over here, and then that's the end of the stage. The next chapter is going to be a really long one, but I've been doing it, and I've been doing it really quickly. It's not a speed run by any means, but the last time I did it, it was almost an hour, it was like 59 minutes. But I think I'm going to be getting it to you guys in about 40 to 45 minutes. So the Aqueduct is always a long level, no matter how you slice it. So I really appreciate all the support. Thanks for watching, everybody, and take care.